Hello and welcome to IS Primers. Now, recently there has been a leak which raises certain concerns about the government using the surveillance related infrastructure illegitimately. It is using the surveillance related infrastructure to target its political opponents or people who are critical of the government. I say it is an allegation. I'm not saying that they did this. Now this is being done using the support of a software which is known as Pegasus. So Pegasus is a software that is made by an Israel-based company known as NSO Group. And this is a spyware software. So as the name suggests, it is used for spying. It is used for surveillance in a very discreet fashion. Now when we talk about the issue is not so much the Pegasus software, but it is the concern over the misuse of surveillance related infrastructure. So in this particular video, yes, we will talk about the Pegasus, but our focus is going to be the issue of surveillance and the need for reforms. Now coming to the Pegasus is known as a zero-click attack. You know, when we use our mobile phones, sometimes you must have come across somebody sending you a link on WhatsApp or on the YouTube, and you click on it and something weird happens on your mobile phone. So that is a virus has crept into it. So this Pegasus software can be installed on a person's mobile phone even without a person clicking on it. By the way, this I'm trying to make an iPhone. It could be any phone, right? So this is a mobile phone. Let's say a person is trying to attack or trying to get information about an individual through his mobile phone. So let's say an attacker tries to attack this phone, and this is being done by the use of a software which we are talking about, Pegasus. Now once the software is installed, what it can do is really alarming, really shocking actually. What this can do is it can, without the consent of the individual who owns the phone, it can unlock automatically, and the person will not even know about this. And after unlock, it can use the microphone that is there on the bottom of the phone to record conversation. So imagine a political opponent like Rahul Gandhi, he's having a meeting and the government is listening to it, or how a protest has to be done, a legal protest. So this can be used. Likewise, the phone's camera and other resources can be used to track the individual. Now this is fine if this is being used for public safety, like for tracking of the terrorists. But then there are always concerns that such a software is being used to target the people who are critical of the government, as the case has been with reference to this recent leak. So the people who are mentioned as potential target or the actual targets of the Pegasus includes people like Rahul Gandhi, Prashant Kishore, people from other parties like Trinamool Congress, right? It is not a terrorist related activity that anybody was trying to identify information about them. These are people who are strongly critical about the government. And not just, it doesn't stop here. Imagine the former election commissioner. What does election commissioner now do with public safety? So he was being tracked by Pegasus. So Ashok Lavasa. Even Pakistan and China will not be interested in him. Likewise, from some ministers of the present government, plus sitting judge of the Supreme Court has been mentioned as targets of Pegasus. So this is a cause of concern. Now at the right, you can see a definition of the spyware. So spyware is a malicious software designed to enter your computer device, gather data and forward it to the third party. So this I have already explained, right? So this is the mobile phone. So this Pegasus gathers data, whatever data from the mic, camera, or your call logs, etc. It gathers the data and gives it to the third party. Now moving on to the major issue that I wanted to discuss was the issue of surveillance. Now, surveillance in India is being done by two laws or two legislations. Is being done because Pegasus is being done illegally. It is being said. So it is being done outside of the purview of these two laws. Okay. Now coming to this laws about surveillance, there are the two laws. That is the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885. This is to do with telephone related surveillance. So tapping of the telephone, for instance, and hearing conversations. And the other is the IT Act of 2000, something as simple as reading the WhatsApp chat or email of a particular individual. So computer related surveillance is from IT Act. Now this Indian Telegraph Act, it is not completely about surveillance. Only a part of it has a clause about surveillance, which is Section 5 of the Indian Telegraph Act. And it says that this can be done for certain reasons like public safety, national security, as well as maintaining good relations with the foreign countries. And this can be done only by the authorization of an official. So only a concerned or an authorized official can give sanctions to. So only an authorized official. So a particular official has been designated for this purpose. And this person is designated. Who designates it? It is being designated by the Home Secretary. So this authorized person is actually an officer of the rank of Joint Secretary. So both are very senior IAS officers. Now one flaw in this you can see is quite visible is that Home Secretary, even though he is a very senior IAS officer, he is answerable to whom? Home Minister, right? So Home Minister, a political executive who has certain biases. So if he gives an instruction, the Home Secretary will not be able to do much about it. So he can order a surveillance over here. So this is a major cause of concern, a major weakness which we can see right over here. Now when we talk about surveillance, there are two key issues. Two key issues, naturally it comes to mind. So one is the issue of public safety for which surveillance may be done, and the other issue is that of privacy. So whosoever orders surveillance or parliament makes a law on surveillance, they have to maintain the balance between the two because both are very, very important. And other thing is that there should be a way so that surveillance is not misused, as has been the allegation in the present scenario. For example, this Pegasus case has people who are critical of the government. And amongst them, there was this person known as Stan Swamy case. He is no more, sadly. So Stan Swamy case, he was targeted, and there is a concern that, he was actually being planted. He was framed in a particular case. So here it is seen that there was a consulting company in USA, so Arsenal Consulting, and they found that some letters, incriminating letters, were planted on the computers of certain people who were subsequently arrested. So one of them was Stan Swamy. So even without their knowledge, certain things were added to their mobile phones or computers. So planted over there, and when the investigating agencies like the NIA, National Investigative Agencies, were researching on this topic, they found evidence against him. So anybody could be planted using this Pegasus software. Imagine if your device's mobile phone, microphone, and all the data can be tracked, how difficult is it to actually plant something against you? So this is a major cause of concern. Then leaders like Rahul Gandhi and other political leaders, sitting judge of the Supreme Court and Chief Election Commissioner, and the journalist, but particularly of the news daily, that is the Wire, which is very, very critical of the government. I've never seen something nice actually on their portal. Now this is a violation of the fundamental rights, surveillance. So if a person is under surveillance and if a person has some idea about it, then you are breaching a person's privacy. What is he doing in the private matters? It's his own matter. What if something incriminating has been taken out of it, which has nothing to do with the country or anything? It's about his personal life. And likewise, if a person feels that everything is being monitored over here, his right to freedom of speech and expression will be violated. So privacy and freedom of speech and expression are two related concepts and part of Article 19 as well as Article 21, that is a person's right to live. Then, since the Pegasus activity is being done covertly and the government has largely been silent about it, right? So then there are the concerns over that a person is not able to approach the court, that his rights are being violated. And why is it so? Because the person does not know only. So this is a violation of one person's right to constitutional remedies under Article 32, that is to approach the Supreme Court or the concerned High Court, 226. Now the use of Pegasus is seen as a violation of the principle of due process. Using a due process like taking a sanction of the concerned authority according to a law. So it is being felt that this surveillance activity is being done outside the purview of the law. So it is unconstitutional and it is illegal. And the requirement of procedural safeguards as mandated in the K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. So in fact, it is the Puttaswamy judgment which has actually declared privacy as a key component of one's right to life under Article 21. Then imagine the former Chief Election Commissioner as well as the sitting judge of the Supreme Court, they are being monitored. Imagine, I'm not saying they are being done by the government, but imagine if it is being done by the government. And what if all the judges, so they get concerned about their own safety and maybe the government is able to manipulate judgments or cases in favor of them. And when I say government, I'm not just talking about government, I'm talking about the political party that controls the government, right? In a democracy, it may be either Congress, it may be BJP, TMC, whichever party. So this is a cause of concern and it's violative of the principle of separation of powers, which says that executive, legislature and judiciary have their own respective domains. But if executive uses this tool, it will be able to oversee what the judiciary and the legislative part of the government does. So this is a major cause of concern. And further, this is a violation of the principles, the core principles of any democracy. That is, it's a violation of the principles of checks and balances, violation of the principle of fundamental rights, etc. And what if Abhi, recently these are only small number of people that have been identified, considering the large population of India. But in the present age, or in the future also, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. We are into the age of artificial intelligence and the big data analytics. And imagine the cost of the softwares are going to go lower. So it is going to be much easier in tracking and identifying people. Not tracking, surveillance of people at a very large level. Now it is being done at a targeted level because it is very costly and it requires huge infra. But in the course of time, it is quite possible that almost every single individual, his activities are being tracked by the state. In fact, this was being done by the USA under its PRISM program. So this is a major cause of concern and this can be much more severe. Now in reference to this, right now we are moving to the reform side. Reference to this, there have been two major cases associated with the issue of surveillance. So one is Khadak Singh versus the state of Uttar Pradesh. So this was about a police officer visiting the house of Khadak Singh for surveillance related activities. So the court said that this is a violation of a person's freedom of right, Article 19 and Article 21, right to life and privacy. And then the Section 5 of the IT Act was challenged by the People's Union for Civil Liberties in 1991. It said that this Section 5, concerned authorized person that I just mentioned. So the government can misuse this clause to have surveillance on anybody. So in this PUCL versus the Union of India, the Supreme Court said that a judicial person's permission is mandatory for any authorization for surveillance related activities. Remember, I told you earlier, the Home Secretary is answerable to whom? He is answerable to the Home Minister, and likewise the officials like the Joint Secretary, who is the authorized person. So a judicial person who is outside of the executive, so this was a good option. And likewise there are many other cases, but these two are the most important and the landmark case associated here alongside the Puttaswamy judgment. Now moving on to the judgments, we can just compile the judgments, and the judgments have said that there should be a fourfold test when it comes to the state intervention in the right to privacy, or we can say in the matters of surveillance. So one, it says that the state action must be sanctioned by a law created by the parliament. So it has to function only within the purview of the law, it cannot go beyond it. Then in a democratic society, there must be legitimate aim for action. Surveillance on the chief election commissioner is not a legitimate aim, or Rahul Gandhi, but terrorist activity is going to take place, that is a legitimate aim, or something that may affect the relations with a foreign country, that is legitimate. Then the action must be proportionate to the need for such an interference. If there are other ways of doing it, why not? Why go so deep into a person's phone and person's life, like recording every single thing? What about a person talking to his wife? Even that is getting recorded and the government listening to it. That is not a good thing. So it should be in proportion to the need. Then it must be subject to procedural guarantees. Some safeguards should be there. For example, the need for an oversight authority. So that should be there. It should not be so easy that anybody can order surveillance. So that should be there so that abuse of the power does not take place. Now to do this, one very simple way is that this issue can go to the parliament, and the parliament can make a law based on discussions and deliberations. The present day bills are not really the one how parliament should function, that it is introduced in the bill and it is passed. No, I'm saying with discussions and deliberations. And we should also look at the data protection bill, which is concerned with the issue of privacy, right? So privacy is a major issue that is being discussed in the data protection bill. Now this bill does not include the concerns over surveillance and privacy. It is about social media and how it uses data and how the data is being stored, personal data of people are being stored. But issues of surveillance is not yet mentioned, even though it is an issue of privacy. So this has to be done. Then India is not the first country, right? There have been many other countries. For example, I told you about the USA's PRISM program. So we should use that learnings, what US has been trying to do about reforming the system, that can be done. And likewise, there are judicial guidelines already. So these need to be incorporated so that a law is made. When this should be done with suitable checks and balances. Now just to give you some idea about the USA's PRISM program. So this you read at your own luxury, right? You can take a screenshot. So this is all we have in this particular analysis on the issue of surveillance, right? Pegasus is out of the equation right now. So this is all we have. Thank you for streaming in to IAS Primers, and please do like, share and subscribe. So it really helps us and motivates us to make more and more good content. And I can tell you that if you can just write these topics, in an orderly fashion, your answer is prepared. So you don't have to spend hours researching on the topic, that you leave it to us. So this is all we have. I am signing off. Me, Shubhashish Singh Rehal. Bye bye. Take care and all the best.